Tiraileur. Despite the great struggle that is my potato aim, we managed to capture the bunkers. These guys think they're the judge, jury, and executioner. They're like, bro, stop impersonating me, that's my job. Slowly and methodically, we begin our approach to the castle. And by slowly and methodically, I mean I charge headfirst into the gunfire. The Last Tiger. I'm actually looking forward to this because I really enjoyed through Mud and Blood. Tanks are cool and stuff, so, you know. We get introduced to Peter Griffin, who's a tank commander, but that's not important. What's crucial for our understanding of this character is that he took part in an organized attempt to rob a candy shop of sweets when he was a kid or something along those lines. I don't really get it either. We teleport from Africa to Germany, where we get a cool shot of the terrible state the Wehrmacht is in. We recruited a new radio dude who's a Hitler-Jugend brainwashed kiddo. I wonder what happened to the old radio dude. The kid enters the tank and witnesses our gunner being an idiot. I'm pretty sure explosives are sturdier than we think, but still, I'd rather have a mine installed in a random mattress in my home than drop a whole fucking tank shell. We get going because we are going to attack the Americans. Hey, we can play now. We receive orders to reinforce the rail yard, but of course, the Americans are in the way. Nice try, suka. We blitz through the streets and encounter our first Shermans. These noobs barely get to scratch me. I noticed that the Nazi banners are atrociously inaccurate, but they're still better than whatever the hell this thing was. We encounter artillery fire and immediately receive new orders to destroy the enemy guns. Get to what I assume is the main square, where we encounter lots of targets. We destroy the Shermans, delete the armored cars. Bro thought he's gonna be a hero. We then achieve the objective and do a little lawn mowing. We get the message that the enemy is preparing a counterattack right where we are right now. The rocket tanks were annoying as they even almost kill me, but we prevail nonetheless, cause we built different. We are superior, one might say. Not in a Nazi way, in a player is better than NPC kind of way. Get your mind out of the gutter, Philip. We receive new orders to regroup at a rally point and engage all units on the way. We do exactly that. At some point our possibly shell-shocked gunner begins voicing his doubts about the survivability of this offensive we are undertaking. Anyway, we find an enemy armored column which we absolutely violate. As we make our way downtown, we encounter red smoke. This attracts the planes. However, we manage to just about Tokyo drift under a very dodgy gaff to hide from them. While we're doing some damage control, the driver says someone will have to scout a way through so we don't get bomb-fucked by the Americans. Little Hitler convinces us that the shell-shocked dude should scout the way because he's expendable. The driver is pissed, but there's nothing he can do now. We observe our lad through the gun, but he magically disappears like kulaks in the Soviet Union, or like disabled people in Nazi Germany. We can't really be bothered to look for him though, because it appears that an entire army corps is walking their dogs, and so we bravely run away. We receive new orders regarding the destruction of strategic documents and then regrouping at the cathedral. The offensive was going so well, what happened? But of course there's very many ants in the way. And armor too, which almost kills me actually, cause the AI unknowingly used a smart tactic for once. As we blast our way through the ruins of this German city, we yet again encounter the enemy air support, which critically damages our tank. We leave the crew to fix it and Peter Griffin decides to seize the flak guns. Interesting. I start throwing hands with the Yanks, but only realize mid-firefight that I have no spare ammunition, and so I die. In my second attempt, I run into this gaff beside me and find some guns, which is really nice because I can actually fight back. Would you look at that? Why can't I shoot? Why am I not shooting? Are you having a bloody piss, man? No piss jets. Kind of shit. Third time's the charm though, and we successfully demolish this little platoon. Yes, bullets! I feel like a goddamn Warsaw partisan, not gonna lie. I dash through the ruins and find lots of equipment, as we do indeed come in visual range of our objective. I do a little trolling, and despite the allied planes turning me into a kitchen sieve every now and then, I capture the AA and show them my undeniable superiority. The Yanks counterattack with oh shit. Hey, our tank is here. We hop in and do what the Tiger does best. One small massacre later, we go on a family-friendly drive through the city. Our driver tells us that the radio broke cause it's a cheap piece of Chinese plastic shit, but we can manage without it for now. We got those documents to destroy, remember? Speaking of, we reach the forward base, but surprise surprise, the Americans are here. We politely ask if we can burn some paper, but they reply by calling in air support on my position. I send them to Jesus so he can sort out their bad manners while I snatch the documents. We attempt to reach the cathedral but get ambushed by Shermans whose gunners would not be able to hit the side of a barn. The treads on the panzer go round and round, round and round. Round and round, the treads on the panzer go. We get into a depressing cutscene where a loudspeaker located somewhere off camera is spitting total cap while we witness death and suffering and other cringe stuff along those lines. We stop to look at our former gunner who got hanged for desertion, presumably. I can't speak German. Little Hitler argues with Peter Griffin over it. Anyway, we drive on to the cathedral where local forces were supposed to regroup with they're not there. And Little Hitler gets a panic attack. It's very satisfying seeing that little brat get a vibe check though. We make contact with command which demands we defend the bridgehead at all costs. A second later the Yanks show up and demand our surrender. Little Hitler has a different idea. We are forced into fighting off the Americans, which we do.
Feindliche Panzer können nicht gewinnen! Halt's Maul! Das Ziel ist erledigt!
The Americans call in an artillery strike, so we decide to run and rejoin the main force at the bridge. We get this really cool slow motion segment where the bridge blows up and we lose a track. We get a mad reality check. The driver steps out and throws a fit over the fact that bridge was blown and we were left to die. Yeah, he loses all hope and stuff and starts walking away, but then Little Hitler shoots him in the back. We run over to our friend while this shithead is yapping uncontrollably. Even the Yanks show up and stuff. This whole situation is a mess. We decide to surrender and guess what Little Hitler did? Okay, so that was the last war story, so now I'm gonna do the whole what I thought about them segment here. Under No Flag was just pure unfiltered cringe. The Rodleys was alright, it's worth checking out mostly because of the ski mechanic, it's fun to cruise around. I didn't like the family-friendly Nazi or the fact how two random women crippled the Nazi nuke race, when in reality it was like a proper commando team. Now, each war story is about a certain topic, right? And Under No Flag was all about commandos. They really could have did Nordlies and Under No Flag together and have Nordlies, which was all about resistance, replaced with something along the lines of Yugoslavia or Eastern Europe. The Last Tiger was excellent, just awesome brilliance. It was fun, the characters were actually believable, the story was great and just everything about it I liked. Tiraileur gameplay-wise was kinda meh. Just mindlessly running around shooting at pixels which barely pose a threat. You might as well play on harder difficulty actually. That's what I'll do next time I play a Battleblin game. It does touch upon a subject which unfortunately I can relate to way too much than I realistically should. Racism and just generally the wrongdoings of the Allies isn't something you hear much about. Like for example, the Poles were known to hate the Jews despite the penalty of death from the Germans. But some underground resistance movements had some anti-Semites in there. Now, it's not like they went out of their way to like fucking hunt the Jews or whatever, or at least as far as I'm aware, but still. The other thing about Tiraileur is just lack of adequate or deserved representation of all the factions who fought in the World War, and that really hits home. I'm sure all of the Second World comrades can agree with me here. You know, sometimes I fantasize about a proper, like, AAA title, preferably similar to Battleblin, where the single player side is something like each country having their own campaign. Yes, every country. I'm sure even Denmark had some stories to tell in those, 6 hours. I'm not sure about Luxembourg though. Yeah, and having each of the nation campaigns follow stories and battles from the first day of war until its very end, including like all the underground resistance, and maybe we could sprinkle in some other history stuff, cause like everyone knows about the Holocaust, but what about Soviet crimes, the Volhynian and Galician massacres, and the general violence and ethnic cleansing in former Yugoslavia? So like a typical Balkan Tuesday. The Allies definitely had skeletons in their closets as well, And just having that game stretch out from like Abyssinia and the war in China all the way to the surrender of Japan and Germany. Anyway, my Hitler rant is over, let's go back to Battleblin 5. I hate how it's reused stuff from the old game and really tried to live in its shadow rather than stretching out its wings and living to its actual potential. All in all, don't buy Battleblin 5 unless it's at a stupid discount, just get Battleblin 1, it's much better. As a game in general, the war stories are also mid over there. Still not as bad as here though, damn! Yeah, so if you do get this underperforming game, The Last Tiger is a must play, and if you wanna check it out, Nordies might be fun as well. I haven't played and I'm not playing this smelly multiplayer. Subscribe to Love of Boris and pashul nachuj.